Hello, Justin Foa, CEO and President of Foa and Son. I'm joined by Bernie Goldman, our General Counsel, to talk about the devastation and damage from the remnants of Hurricane Ida that have hit the tri-state area, and some of the things that you should know about getting a claim submitted and getting your damage mitigated in the face of this unexpected flooding and weather event. So let's jump right in. Bernie, what happened?
So there was a fair amount of warning about Ida hitting the Gulf states. Devastation there is tragic, but was somewhat expected. A lot of insurance companies moved their staff from the Northeast and other areas that they thought would not be impacted down there to be at the ready. Unfortunately, the remnants of the storm combined with just a normal weather flow that was heading east produced a tremendous amount of rain on the Northeast. That was not expected until 24 to 48 hours ago. Not enough time to redeploy the staff back. It's just produced a very bad situation where the insurance companies were not caught at the ready, to handle this.
All right, so quickly, one of our clients has flooding in their basement, in their commercial property. What do they do first?
Look, there's in a situation like this where thousands of people impacted. First, there's an element of self-help, which is make sure everything is safe. You have to be concerned about with flooding, about the potential for electric shock. There's things in the basement, that could be dangerous. So do your best to secure, to document what the damage is. In terms of the next layer of help, there are remediation companies that can deploy large equipment and staff that can pump the water out and do other things to minimize the chance of mold and other ensuing damages. You just have to be conscious of the fact that they really are well above the limit in terms of how many people are impacted. They only have so much equipment, they only have so much staff. We can recommend them generally for the better remediation companies that we've recommended. They will put folks high up on the queue in terms of getting people out there, but this is not a situation where the trucks are going to be showing up at an hour ready to pump out. They have long lines in terms of people that are impacted.
Right. And some remediation companies have contracts with commercial clients that have a lot of these types of incidents, and they get priority because they kind of pay for that priority. Certainly the people that we recommend will be with you as quickly as possible. Okay, so you've hopefully remediated what you can. Obviously, with flooding, there's always the possibility of mold, so it's a good idea to try and get the water to subside as quickly as possible. What should people do about actually getting their claim into an insurance company and getting a remediation company out there?
So we are emailing links to most of the major insurance companies and the flood coverage insurers as well. That's going to have a couple things. It's going to have telephone numbers. It's also going to have email contacts. Just being realistic, with all the staff that's been redeployed down to the Gulf, we're hearing stories of people being on hold for 1, 2, 3 hours trying to get their the claims called in, and they just don't have the staff. The switchboards get overloaded, calls dropped. The emails become a good option in terms of getting things in. We're here. The good news is our offices are all open. They haven't been significantly impacted. Our claims teams are here to assist, but to a certain extent, we're subject to the same things. Us to call the insurance companies and the flood carriers or any of our clients, we're still subject to the fact that they're short-staffed and just have far too many claims coming in all at once.
Gotcha. So I think that the message here is, yes, let's get your claim in as quickly as possible, whether it's by phone, whether it's by emailing us, otherwise going to the carrier website and doing it directly. But you know, the idea here is get in line as quickly as possible, and we'll get help and an adjuster to you as quickly as we can, but understand there are some significant delays. Let's talk about coverage a little bit here. Flood is a little bit of an interesting coverage. It's not covered on every single policy. Sometimes they're separate policies. Could you sort of explain that?
Yeah. So flood is tricky. I mean, talk about what flood is. Any type of surface rain, gets into a home, it's flood. Now there are arguments sometimes that can be made. There's another type of coverage, sewer and drain backup, where it's a little bit more common, and sometimes where the system is just backing up into the house because of the rain. Again, that's more subtle. The trick is here that many people who are not in high risk flood zones, they don't normally carry separate flood policies. In situations like this, where it's really flash flooding, coverage can be challenging. And that's on the homeowner side. On the business side, it gets even more complicated. If you're in an office building, you're on the 12th floor, you're not thinking that flood is something to be concerned about. But if your business is shut down, the building is shut down, you can't get access because there's flooding on the streets. If flood isn't covered under your policy, then the business interruption from flood's not covered. So the message at this point, it's more complicated than you can triage right at the outset. A recommendation is get them all reported in, but be cautious in terms of some of the expenditure. So if you're using a contract or a remediation service other than one that we recommend, and they present a very large bill, but they tell you, look, don't worry about it, your insurance will pick it up. Again, I think just be open and talk to us. Is there a concern in terms of coverage? Do I have flood coverage? So this is the type of expenditure that I could expect to be reimbursed, because the worst scenario is you could have some very large bills because people are just taking advantage of the situation, and those are not covered.
Right. I mean, the insurance companies have sort of negotiated rate schedules with most of these remediation companies. And so if you don't have any insurance coverage, you're sort of on your own negotiating with them. And obviously right now there's huge demand. So they could charge more than maybe they should have. Exactly. So be aware of that. And we'll continue to update our website and send out communications. But at this point, hopefully this video was helpful for you, and we're here for you to help you in this time, this difficult time, and hopefully, your insurance will get you back to where you were before this unpleasant event.